Okay, I'm going to talk about a realm of social media that I call uterus tube. Which is this reason-free zone where wild emotion reigns supreme. It's typified by this video from this very popular YouTuber named Jessica Kent, who is a former inmate and a recovering addict, and she considers herself kind of a big victim of the system in many ways, and she's now some sort of inmate advocate, inmate advocate and prison reform advocate. By prison reform, she mainly means, be nicer to the inmates. So here comes this story in which really the pixels are not even dry yet on this story about a woman in Florida who's picked up, she's 6 months pregnant, she's thrown into jail, and she gives birth to a 6-month premature infant. The baby dies before it reaches the hospital, or when it reached the hospital. And this, of course, is all the fault. Well, let's see whose fault this is.
Every single person in that jail needs to be fired. I think every single one of those officers that ignored her not only needs to be fired, but they need to be charged with negligent homicide.
Yeah, okay, you would think that someone who has been in the system would have an appreciation for a thing called due process. At the time she released this video, the investigation had barely even begun. I think the only official response from that county was, condolences, sincere, we mourn, whatever. By the way, of course, she wasn't satisfied with that.
The county sheriff's office said this is an ongoing investigation, so they are limited on details they can provide. Our entire agency is very saddened by what Ms. Thompson had to experience. We absolutely realize how traumatizing and heartbreaking it is to lose a child, and we are deeply saddened, and we grieve with her in the loss of her child. You grieve with her? You don't grieve with her.
But look, my point is the other side of the story is not out yet. And this Jessica Kent she's already making outbursts like this.
You should be ashamed of yourself. How dare you even say that you mourn with her? If a pregnant woman is telling you that she is having contractions, how dare you ignore her?
So to get into the particulars, this Erica T is, she was picked up because of a parole violation and it says, a traffic violation, but she was driving on a suspended license. Okay, the parole violation, this is a felony, actually 2 felonies. 2 felony convictions of perjury. So, right there, like grain of salt on this woman's story, maybe? And she was lucky enough to be placed on probation for these 2 felonies. So, already she's on borrowed time. Already she's got to be, a person like this has to be extra mindful of how they behave. I don't get how someone who has been cut such a huge break by the system can go and abuse it and risk the well-being of others who are dependent on you. This Erica T actually already had 2 little kids at home. I don't know about you, but I will barely even, I have elderly relatives who sort of depend on me, and I will barely even leave town, much less break the law because I could be missing out on a responsibility to them. What the hell does it take? How much effort does it take to keep your driving record clean? Just, obey the traffic rules and keep your driver's license current? Anyway, here's Jessica Kent's reaction to the fact that this woman was arrested for probation violation and driving on a suspended license.
I'm sorry, probation violation and a traffic ticket?
Right back at you, Jessica. That is my response to this woman actually driving on a suspended license and violating her probation while she is pregnant and she has 2 kids, for God's sakes, or even doing these things at all. You have committed 2 god-dang felonies, and we are letting you out. We are letting you walk the streets. All you need to do is keep your nose clean and check in regularly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what is this story all about?
I'm so sorry that this happened to you.
Yeah, it's something that happened to Erica T. Look, again, I want to say, what was Erica T's role in her kid's death?
When you are arrested and you are put in jail, especially when you're pregnant, the stress level of that is sometimes too much to bear. Just the whole process itself. So I don't know if stress can induce someone's labor or if that kind of stress can cause this to happen.
By the way, I'm curious, did she have any personal habits like smoking, or was she taking any drugs that would cause this, premature birth? I'm just asking. Anyway, the thing is, Erica T already knew the system. She had already made a couple of she had already perjurized herself twice. She made 2 false affidavits. So she was already sort of in the court, talking to the court. She already got tried and she already got convicted. She already knew what the system was. She already knew that there are a bunch of red tape and roadblocks and no mercy and mean people and faceless bureaucrats. And what does she do? She subjects this unborn baby of hers. I mean, look, every place that you go, you take your unborn baby with you. Where would you not go if you were pregnant? You would not go bungee jumping. You would not go to a third world hellhole where you're likely to, like if you go into premature labor, you're likely to be 100,000 miles from the nearest decent clean hospital. You wouldn't go into a war zone, maybe. Maybe you wouldn't be driving around on a suspended license while you are already guilty of a probation violation for 2 felonies. But no, Erica T takes herself and her 6-month, unborn kid into this situation, and just the 2 other kids at home. I mean, are there any mothers out there, like you don't even, like your blinkers out and you don't even want to drive the kids around in that car. You want to be 100% compliant at all times because you don't want to risk your family's welfare. Are there going to be any exhortations from Jessica Kent and her weepy followers to women to be more responsible to your kids, to not drag them into this situation, to not make them victims of the system the same way you are? I mean, even, I'm just going to, be nice and consider you all victims of the system because you committed crimes and got picked up. I'm being nice here. I'm thinking of the kids. Anyway, we have this great big tear fest and accusation fest and emotion fest.
It is 2021. In America, and we are still allowing such barbaric and gruesome things to happen within our prison system. How in the fuck is this okay? I'm sorry. I'm outraged.
In ensuing days, the authorities have disputed Erica T's claims, and I wonder if Jessica Kent is going to be fair to them. She's already been unfair as far as I'm concerned. She's already, issued her verdicts. So I would just like to see some reason, some hardening, some facts, some intellectual rigor injected into uterus tube. People get 2 sides of a story. They weigh the evidence. They ask questions beyond the immediate facts. They look at broader implications. And while we're here, okay, Jessica Kent has all this compassion and sorrow, and she's full of, this wellspring of forgiveness or excusing people or calling for mercy. I do want to point out that I think that Jesus Christ did say that anyone who harms kids should, have a millstone hung around their neck and be tossed into the sea. What was I almost said her name. What was Erica T's role? What is her role in the obviously compromised welfare of her other 2 kids? I mean, I'm sure this woman's other 2 kids are not doing so well because of this, and we already know what happened to this baby Ava, as she was called. What is Erica T's role in all this?